Hello and welcome to the Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast with me, clinical somatic educator and founder of Total Somatics, Heidi Hadley. The Somatic Movement and Mindset podcast has been designed to help you gain a deeper understanding to how your mind and body work. You will learn about your amazing mind and body and why over time you can feel pain, recurring injuries and poor posture. Within this podcast, I will teach you why this doesn't have to be your future or the norm for you. Would you like to learn how to reduce pain, move freely, and gain a new lease of life? Let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we get started, I just want to remind you, if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell. So every time an episode is released, you're the very first to find out. Also, don't forget, as we're approaching May, if you want to join me for the free online workshop series in May, I'm going to hold it every single weekend. And we're going to be delving into different areas of total somatic mindfulness, movement, and mindset. And so the whole theme is Mindful in May. And every year for many years now, I've been holding that theme. But we're going to use this focus to look at how we can reset and recalibrate our nervous system from the first half of the year and how we can have that ready to embrace the second half of the year. So if you'd like to join me or you know anyone else that would also find it useful, please go to totalsomatics.com/May. That's totalsomatics.com/May. And if you go to that space, you will find that you can leave your email address. And when you leave your email address, it means that I can send you the Zoom invitation if you want to come and join me live, or if you want the Zoom replay, it will also be sent to the email address that you provide. So let us get started with today's episode. Now, over the last few episodes, we've considered how the startle reflex can create muscular patterns of tension and tightness, and it can either show in the form of the green light reflex or the red light reflex. So today, what we're going to consider is a common issue that people can start to experience as the years go by. And that is a mixture of both postural reflexes holding you in a chronically tight state. And when it holds you chronically tight, it impacts your muscles and it impacts your joint health as well. And when we exhibit these postural reflexes, you see, usually if we've only got one of them, and you picture whichever one you want to focus on, but whichever one of those reflex postures that we hold, what you'll find is one side contracts and tightens, and the other side lengthens and basically stretches. Now, if you constantly hold that reflex pattern, it means that a contracted muscle is just as ineffective and inefficient and just as weak as a stretched, lengthened muscle, because neither of them have got efficient muscle memory and coordination and movement. They're just locked in that fixed brainstem postural reflex. So let us now consider this specific reflex also engages your entire nervous system. And what it will do is, in whichever reflex it will do, it will reinforce either this low energy state or a reactive high functioning anxiety state. And so over the years, you can see how people will have a variation of emotions that happen. Different stresses will create either the low energy withdrawal state, but it'll also create a high functioning anxiety state. So people will develop both the green and the red light reflex, not just from stress, but through habits, through adaptation. And if you consider nowadays, people are using like mobile devices and computers, they're looking forward, they're slouching more, people might be playing Sudoku, doing things that they think are really healthy to do and great, which they are, but they're doing a habitual posture all the time. So they're reinforcing to their nervous system and to their brain as a whole and their muscular system, this is a new normal. So that's why people start, and it's very insidious, they start to find this tightening is occurring between the front and the back. No longer does one side dominate. No longer does it just feel that you're in one reflex. You start to feel both sides are tightening. So they're creating a tug of war. And if that's happening, it's going to affect your movement. It's going to make you walk in a very wooden, robotic, stiff manner. As a result of that, you won't have that wiggle and that swagger and that rhythm and that bounce. You won't have the rotation with movement, which is what humans are designed to have, is a rotation, a spiraling aspect to their movement. So this then creates overall pain and discomfort Because if you have no swagger, if your pelvis is not swinging, if your arms are no longer swinging as you walk, if your shoulders haven't got rhythm and they're rigid and locked down, that's going to really impact your muscle, your joint, your nervous system, everything, your emotional, mental well-being too. Because holding yourself in a really tense, tight body is going to create that chronic pain, that chronic fatigue, that shallow breathing. It's going to impact and create poor self-image, because you're going to feel self-conscious with the postural changes that you have. Maybe you have an unusual walk that you're self-conscious about. It even impacts things such as high blood pressure. There's a lot of changes and a lot of pressure happening internally. And something that you could get started with today, especially if you're not in the Total Somatics membership, but if you are in the Total Somatics membership, you know there's a lot of resources there. It's looking at rib mobility. Because in the Total Somatics shop, so if you go to totalsomatics.com, you will see that there is actually audios and movement classes that are available to improve rib mobility. Because, you know, rib mobility is impacted, it locks everything down. And when you have no movement in your rib cage, it impacts your breathing and the depth of breathing. It impacts your spinal and disc health. It affects shock absorbency with movement. It affects efficient movement or efficient energy with movement as a whole, really. It's also going to impact lower back and pelvic health, because you've got no release, you've got no spring that's happening through your torso. And as a result, if you've got poor rib mobility and it's affecting oxygenation into your beautiful tissues, by extension, it's going to impact your brain. So your cognition and your focus will also be impacted. So everybody that's listening to this today, if you're in the Total Somatics membership, you can find all this information within the audios on page 1 and page 2 of Mindset and Mindfulness. So look there, you'll see lots of rib release techniques there. However, if you aren't a member, you can go to totalsomatics.com and you can see that you can purchase there the rib mobility audio. And I would highly recommend that. It's a very popular audio session, because if we can get the spring and the bounce and the release back into your rib cage, it's going to help on so many levels. And if you can join me for Mindful in May, every weekend in May, we will be delving into that. And if you have actually had a look and you've experienced and explored rib mobility release with Total Somatics, you will actually see how this comes into play with recalibrating and resetting your nervous system. It's really important. So if you want to join me, please do. It's free. It will be online. And you can go to totalsomatics.com/May. And that means that when you go to that page, you can just leave your email address. And then as we get closer to the time, I'll send you out the Zoom link so you can join me live from wherever you are in the world. I love these events, by the way, because we get people from all around the world coming in. And if you can't watch me live, then please just check out the replay link, which will be sent to the email address that you put when you go to totalsomatics.com/May. So we've got lots that we're going to go through together every weekend in May. And everything that you're hearing in this series during this month is really going to build you up to take you that bit further as we work together in May. So until next time, all my love and my very best wishes to you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.